Let's go. A win's a win's a win's a win, but that's a good one. The Badgers needed this one. The tournament hopes are still alive. They sweep Iowa. Always great to beat Iowa in anything. That's in the comment section as well. We're going to talk about it all on today's Locked On Badgers. Really appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Locked On Badgers. As the intro says, your team every single day, and sometimes more than once a day. But we are reacting to the Iowa-Wisconsin game. Wisconsin gets a big win to keep their tournament hopes alive. Really do appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's just get to some comments. Let's start there. It's the therapy show. We try to do therapy shows after all the basketball and football games, good or bad. They're a lot more fun when you win, especially when you beat Iowa, right? Like before we get to the comments, I know I said let's get to the comments, but I was taking so much joy in every Iowa brick. Partially because this has been a rough season for Wisconsin. Like, it's been a struggle for us, and it was really nice to see another team just not able to score, right? And some of that is credit to Wisconsin's defense. Some of that was open shots they just missed. And I felt great about it. I felt really good about it. So let's get into some comments. Logan Couch, thank you, Logan, as always, for jumping on the show. Wisconsin winning by more than 5 points in a good second half. Yeah, both things that we haven't said a lot of this year. I mean, Wisconsin winning by 12, there's got to be like some conversion factor. A 12-point Wisconsin win, I think, is probably equal to what, like a 30-point normal team win. For Wisconsin winning by 12 is a pretty monumental Herculean task this year. So, yeah. I love it. Christopher Gerber, so great to beat Iowa in anything. Yes, I saw your comment in there, Christopher. Thank you for jumping in. I agreed. It is so nice to beat Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan. There's a couple teams where it feels better to beat them, right? The win, it counts the same, but it feels better. It feels better to beat the Fighting Franz and all of his many children. I don't even know how many. It feels really good to sweep that series. So agreed. Tyrom, that was refreshing. Yeah. Like for 30 minutes, it felt like every single game we've seen this year. Nauseating scoring droughts, the inability to get anything going, a team unable to break away. And then for like when they built that lead and it went up to 6 and then went to 9, and it's just like, you can almost exhale a little bit. Now, you still can't really because it's the Badgers, right? We've seen them give up a 17-point lead to Nebraska, an 8-point lead to Iowa. So you're still kind of like, but it felt, with the way Iowa was imploding, it felt kind of safe to me. And that's a nice feeling once in a while, right? Not every drive needs to be a high-speed car chase. Sometimes it's nice just to take a leisurely stroll through the countryside. And that's what that last part of this game felt like to me. I kind of could just sit back, relax, and enjoy it. And I really did enjoy it. Spencer Wagner, thank you, Spence, for jumping on the show. Big W. Yeah. Listen, we talked about it. It was on yesterday's show. I'm getting my shows mixed up because I also recorded one with John Garcia Jr. that will drop tomorrow or Friday. Sorry. So make sure you check out that too. We talked with John Garcia Jr. about a couple big-time defensive prospects coming potentially to Madison. So check that one out as well. But last time I had Rajiv and Justin on, we talked about this last chunk of games in the season. What does Wisconsin have to do, right, to probably get to the tournament? And it was, you got to beat Iowa and Minnesota, right? You got to get at least 2 of these 4. And the Iowa one at home, the Minnesota one, those are the 2 most likely. You couldn't have dropped this game because the Michigan road game is going to be tough, right? We beat them at home. They felt like they got a bad whistle. Hunter Dickinson and all of his nonsense is going to have that crowd fired up. Like, that's going to be a tough game to win. Now, they could do it. I think you're going to get myrtleated by Purdue. Like, I think Purdue's just going to destroy us. So you had to get this game. And Spencer, dead on. That's a big W. Now, I've talked about this a lot, and I don't want people to try to say I'm making too much out of this. Like, many games ago, I said, I'm done doing, after every game, a referendum on Greg Gard, right? The big picture issues are still there. This win notwithstanding. What I said is I'm going to box up the season and I'm going to put it off to the side in terms of the big picture expectations. And I'm just going to enjoy every game for what it is. I'm going to cheer like heck to beat the teams I don't like. Iowa, hello. And I'm going to cheer like heck to get us into March. And then I'm just going to enjoy what I can from this season. And then in the offseason, we got to unpack that box and get into the big picture questions, right? So this still doesn't solve the big picture questions. This is not like, oh, now Gard's a great coach. Like we're off that roller coaster. At least I am. And there's still things in this game that Gard did that drove me nuts, by the way. And we're going to talk about some of that. But just in the micro sense, this is a really big win for the season to get them closer to March, right? And that's the goal right now. Get to March. Just get to March. Salvage the season. That's the goal. Salvage it. So, yeah, in that sense, it's a big win. Chris, my man, the heartbeat of Discord. Thank you for jumping in. Let's go. I agree. You know, when you started getting those, and the next comment, Derek, let's go. G Money out there making buckets, referencing Carter Gilmore. Carter Gilmore getting MVP chance would have been a bet I never would have taken, no matter what type of crazy line I got. He steps to the line after one of his he had 3 hustle plays down the stretch, and a wide open bucket where Iowa forgot to guard him. In fact, Iowa didn't guard him most of the night for actually good reasons. But he had 3 hustle plays, had that behind the back play to save a pass going out of bounds, and he steps up to the line and he starts getting MVP chance. And I was dying. It may be my favorite moment of this year. And I have some stuff to talk about with Carter Gilmore too that isn't as great probably, but I was dying when they started serenading him with MVP chance. And then of course he goes 0 for 2 from the line with the MVP chance coming down. You couldn't have scripted it better. It was awesome. I was having so much fun at that point. A couple IPAs in as well. So it was all blending together perfectly. Derek, thank you for the comments. Zach Bartz. Whomsoever, that's always a fun word. Let Brian Ferentz drop offensive plays for Iowa tonight. Thank you. We needed this. Yeah, they, I think, finished 3 of 27 for 3. Is that right? That is what I have. 3 of 27 for 3. That is really terrible. Now, some of those, listen, we've talked about this with Gard too, right? I've talked about some of the looks he's drawn up recently with Connor Sejan that Connor just missed. Sometimes you draw plays and sometimes players make plays to get open shots and they just don't hit them. Now, there's points in this game where Wisconsin's perimeter defense was really good. Max Klesman, I thought, had a really good defensive game. You know, he's able to really wall off defenders or offensive players driving in. He's a really, really good defensive player. Carter Gilmore had some really nice defensive sequences, I thought. Chucky Hepburn as usual. But Iowa also missed just a bunch of wide open shots. And that's fine. That happens. Wisconsin does that all the time. So, no, I don't feel bad about it. Ty Rom says they look like a basketball team tonight. It looks so much more fun. Now, that first, let's talk about the first 4 minutes-ish where they had 5 turnovers. And that was a really disappointing start, right? In a game that you need to have Tyler Wahl come out and make a couple terrible passes. That inbound pass he made against the press was one of the worst passes. It's maybe the worst pass he's ever made, right? And then you had Connor Sejan just kind of drop 2 balls. Kamari McGee had a nice play where he had a really great cut. Tyler Wahl threw it in there, and Kamari McGee just didn't handle it. You know, it's just a bad start to the game. But from that point on, when they kind of recovered from that, they did look like a more cohesive unit. It was a big win at home. I was really enjoyed it. So Ty, thank you for the comment. All right, we're going to keep going with your comments. This is going to be a show for y'all. I have a couple things I want to talk about as well, but let's celebrate the win against Iowa. But first, today's show is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel, the number 1 sportsbook in the country, and they are Locked On's new sportsbook partner. Midway point of the NBA season is here. We talked about it. Let me know in the comments who you got winning the finals. Probably a lot of Bucks people in here. For you Bucks fans that you may not know, most of you probably know I'm a Suns fan. I will never forgive Giannis for ripping my heart out in the NBA Finals. Never forgive him. But now, NBA season about halfway over. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's the bonus bet. If your first bet doesn't win, it's free bonus bets back. You can't beat it. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line, in-game parlays, point scores, three-pointers drained. I've talked about my love for Phoenix. They're winning the title this year. That's where my money is. Plus 500 on FanDuel. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine bets, same-game parlays like I've talked about. It is the easiest way to do this. Don't miss your chance to get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets back when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Thank you again for tuning in to Locked On Badgers, making this your first listen every day, one of your first listens every day. Really, really do appreciate y'all. I say it a lot, but I really mean it. It's humbling to get any of your time to get, whether you're listening to it on the drive into work, tuning in live after a game. It's incredible. Y'all are amazing, and I can't thank you enough for that. When you're done here, go check out Locked On College Basketball. All the biggest stories, guests, insiders in one spot on Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, so let's keep talking about this. I want to get a bunch more of your comments in here. Talk about what you thought of the Iowa game. Who gets your game ball today? Who was the best player? Is the Gilmore MVP chance the funnest point of this season? Let me know. Chris Hart says, GoFundMe to get Carter Gilmore to attend a Locked On tailgate. Listen, I said this, I think, in the Discord. And if you're not on Discord, come join us. It's a lot of fun. It's good Badger talk. Carter Gilmore, if there was a, like the Marvel multiverse, if there's a Carter Gilmore version out there that has a little better jump shot, he would be the biggest of fan favorites. He really would be, because he is giving everything he has out there. Now, this is where we talked about it before. There's good and bad in every win and loss, right? And I actually recorded a couple clips in this game where I don't think it surprises anybody. We've talked about this before. Defenses don't pay a ton of attention to Carter Gilmore, but it's getting to the point where it is so detrimental for the rest of the offense. There's pick and rolls where Carter Gilmore's involved in, and nobody guards him on the roll. Like, he just rolls down the middle, and he's basically wide open because both people blitz the ball handler. There's plays where they're swinging him around to the perimeter, and nobody's on Carter Gilmore because his player's in the post double teaming somebody. Carter Gilmore had a play where he entered it to Tyler Wahl, and Carter Gilmore's defender immediately just sprinted at Tyler Wahl and doubled him and left Carter Gilmore wide open, which resulted in a Tyler Wahl turnover. It is so hard offensively to play 4 versus 5 when you already have a limited offensive team. So, Chris, I'm not saying we shouldn't do a GoFundMe to get CG to the Locked On tailgate. I love the heart and the effort. Offensively, it hurt. It's painful at times, is what I'll say. Mitchell Lee says, finally implemented a rotational players without being forced to. Yeah, I think Gard was pretty on point. I'm always interested when players pick up early fouls. Stephen Crowell got that second early foul in the first, or that early second foul in the first half, and then obviously sat a long time. Then he picked up another foul in the second half to get his third. I sometimes think Gard keeps those players out a little too long, right? He almost lets the foul situation foul them out. Like, he puts them on the bench, and I think he could be a little more aggressive in those moments. I thought he could have brought Crowell in a little earlier. This is a veteran post player. I think you kind of could have really used him, and you saw the way Crowell came out in the second half and kind of dominated for that stretch. But I thought Gard was pretty good today. I really do. Let's see. Let's keep going on here. Brian D says, are we good tonight, or was Iowa bad tonight? Yes. Both. And we're not good. Like, that's the thing. And that's where I don't want to get into the seesaw. We win and we're good, and then we lose and we're bad. No, we're a mediocre team. This is who we are, right? Iowa was also bad tonight. Now, we played a role in that. We had a good defensive effort, but Iowa was also bad, and we are not that good. It's just kind of one of those days. And we came out ahead today. Michigan might beat us by 10 or 15. And then we're not, we're nowhere worse if Michigan beats us by 10 or 15 than we are more good if we beat Iowa by 12. I'm probably not explaining that well, but I think what I'm saying is, no, we're the same team we've been all year, which is a mediocre team that's going to win half their games and lose half their games in the Big Ten. Adam Berger says, both. Yep, agreeing, but a win is a win. Yes. Adam, thank you, Adam. You said it far better than I did in 7 words than I did in a rambling 2 minutes. So thank you for that. Let's see. Zach Bart said Iowa was doomed when Carter Gilmore nailed more than one basket tonight. Now, yeah, like Carter Gilmore had a really nice little fadeaway in the paint. It was a really nice look. He just can't shoot from deep, and defenses just play off of him. But it was fun. Bagley Badger says a non-heart-inducing end. I've forgotten what comfortable feels like. Yeah, it was great. That's why I said, like, sometimes it's nice to get a comfortable drive in the country, right? Roll the windows down, chill out, no stress. That's what the end of this game felt like to me. I very much enjoyed it. Tom Niesis says, and Tom, thank you for jumping on. A longtime supporter of the show. Really do appreciate you. Iowa always fades at the end of the year. Fran might be tough to play for in a long season. Yeah, certainly an abrasive dude. Now, I will say this, and Tom probably knows this better than I do. He's a guy who's coached basketball and done it for a while. Sometimes abrasive coaches on the sidelines aren't that way to their players as much, right? Like his players might really like playing for him. I don't know. Obviously, several sons in that mix as well, and relatives, but I don't know. There could be something to the fact that Fran wears out his welcome with his players over the course of the season. I could definitely see that. All right, let's keep going here. Let's see. Who'd you guys give the game ball today? I got Bagley Badger says Klesman on D. Listen, I thought Klesman was great on defense. He still drives me nuts because he doesn't shoot the freaking ball enough. There's 2 times every single game where they swing the ball around. Klesman has a shot and he doesn't take it, and he either kind of pauses and then moves the ball, or he kind of pump fakes and drives. And I think the better part of his game is that taking that shot on the ball reversal, not driving into the paint. I like the fact that he can put it on the deck. I like the fact that he has some toughness to his game, that he can get into the paint, that he can get to the rim, that he can take some contact. I like those things, but I think he's a better 3-point shooter, and I wish he would let it fly more, especially on a team that is, quite frankly, a little reticent to shoot from certain places on the court. So I love the defense, though. I totally agree, Bagley. Let's see. Here's another one. MJ Buckley says Wahl getting the game ball, but Chucky honorable mention. I think it's Wahl. And you can't take away his 2 first turnovers, right? But after that point, after those 2 kind of early gaffes that led to 5 Iowa points, by the way, I thought he played really well. Like, he kept us offensively in the game. I thought he was more aggressive. Rajiv, we were talking in our chat. Rajiv was really kind of impressed with the way he was playing a little quicker. I thought he attacked the post with pace. Like he was really kind of bringing the action to Iowa instead of. There's been times this season where Wahl almost seems to go into the paint and get stuck there, right, and get into this mode of reverse pivot, pump fake, reverse pivot, pump fake, pump fake, pump fake, shot, right? And it just gets too convoluted down there for him. I thought he played with more pace, more decisiveness in this game, so I would go with Wahl as well. Also had a couple really nice assists. Had a great passing game. Hit Connor on that one cut. Hit Connor in the corner as well for a wide open 3. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tyler Wahl. Jan Volk also says Tyler Wahl. Don't badger me. Game ball goes with Tyler. 11 points, 14 rebounds, great defense. Tyler Romaine says game ball for Tyler Wahl as well. Held Murray to 6 points. Yeah, I think it's Tyler Wahl as well. He really, really played well today. Logan Couch is going to go with Connor. Nice bounce back game. And the great thing about Connor, by the way, and this was also true. I mean, we didn't win, but last game when he went 0 for 10, he kept shooting. Like, Connor is going to keep shooting the ball, which I love. He has a belief and a confidence that you want in shooters. So, yeah, he missed a couple early shots in today's game, but then he bounced back, hit a couple huge threes, also got into the paint, to the free throw line. That part of his game is evolving, which is really exciting. So, yeah, I could say Connor, Chucky, even Steven Crowell for points really played well, but game ball for me to Tyler. All right, we're going to take a very quick break. Friends of the show, and then we're going to get back into your comments to wrap up the show. Really do appreciate everybody tuning in. And if you're not here and you're listening to it tomorrow, appreciate you as well. We'll be right back on Locked On Badgers, talk about what this means big picture for Wisconsin. All right, I want to say thank you again for everybody tuning in to Locked On Badgers. As a reminder, some housekeeping stuff. We are going to the spring game. We are going to do a Locked On event, probably do a live show. I want to do some swag giveaways. I want to say thank you to people supporting the show. So if you're going to be in the Madison area, if you're planning on coming to the game, we would love to see you. We would love to talk to you. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to give you some swag. So yeah, keep your ears open for the logistics behind this, but I'm really excited about it, and I'm excited to kind of say thank you in person to a lot of the people that are tuning in and watching the show. So that's coming up. Like I said, interview tomorrow with John Garcia Jr. You're going to see that on Friday. Tune in for that to see some talk on some new defensive prospects coming into town. And then next week, there should be some really fun guests coming in as well. So yeah, we'll keep it going. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's keep going with some of your comments here. Let's see. Tyler Romaine, what do you think about Shaka and Marquette? Let's see. Are you referencing the kind of emotional outburst on the sideline from Shaka? If that's the case, like I'm actually kind of cool with it. I I like the emotion in the game, so that wasn't a big deal to me. And he's really kind of energized that program in some ways. Finding ways to bring alumni back, finding ways to kind of build that marketing for that program and build it out. That makes me kind of excited. It makes those fans kind of excited in the way that Luke Fickell has in some ways energized Wisconsin football. So, yeah, I know he rubs some people the wrong way. Obviously, I don't enjoy Marquette's success as a Badger fan, but I personally don't really have a big issue with Shaka. But certainly feel free to disagree on that one. Brian D says Wahl was good. Yep. Zach Bart's game ball to Wahl. Double-double. Finally look back to early season Wahl when we had odd start. Connor having a quiet 17. And tying Davidson's Frosh 3-point record. Let's talk about that. We haven't even talked about that. Connor coming in this year, we talked about it pretty early on the show. We were pretty high on him. I was pretty high on him. Justin was really high on him. We both thought he'd play a role. I didn't think he'd play this much. And to tie Brad Davidson's freshman 3-point record, and obviously he's got 3 games. He's gonna crush this record by the time it's said and done. That's a heck of an achievement. Excuse me. It's a heck of an achievement, and hats off to him. And he's going to have next year, watch out potentially, right? Because we're seeing the glimpses of what he can do with his ability to cut into the paint, his ability to hit mid-range shots, his ability to get to the rim. He's going to come back next year bigger, stronger. He's going to come back next year a better athlete, and he's going to spend the offseason, I think, working on that skill. With that 3-point shot, if he can marry those 2 components of his game, he's an all-conference player. So I'm really excited about that. That's one of the big reasons I'm optimistic about next year. Connor's going to be better, and a better version of what we're seeing right here. It's a darn good player. Now, I don't know the ultimate ceiling, but he's going to be a darn good player. Don't badger me, said Coach Gard did really well today. Timely substitutions, right times. I think he was really good. Let me give you a couple of my really quick gripes, because again, I just want to be honest on this, and there are some things that frustrated me. I thought Kamari McGee could have played a little bit more early. And then there was a play going into half, right? With 12 seconds left, we had the ball, call timeout, last play of the half. I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure Carter Gilmore is out on that play. It's still on the court. If you have an offensive play where it's the last play of the half, there's just not a reason to have Carter Gilmore on the court right there. These are quibbling things, but if you're going to have a team that just is going to struggle, and for most games, every possession is super important. You can't throw away a possession. And, if the last possession of a half, put Isaac Lindsey out there. At least you have to respect his jump shot. So there's still little quibbling things, but don't badger me. I agree with you for the most part. I thought Gard did pretty well. I liked most of the substitutions, and he did a good job also finding some really nice looks coming out of the offense. Max Klesman got free on a couple screens. Connor Siege in a couple. So yeah, I thought he was pretty good as well. Well, let's keep going here. Jordan Peplinski, is Connor the most exciting freshman in 5 years? That's a good question, man. Jonah, thank you for jumping into the show. Let me know in the comments. What's the most exciting freshman in the last 5 years for Wisconsin basketball? I mean, so you had Chucky Hepburn last year, right? As a starting point guard with the big shot he hit. I don't know if you would call him more exciting than Connor or not. I don't know. That's a great question. He might be. Let's keep going. Commandant Clink says the Big Ten Conference is really bad this year. Yeah, and we're right in the midst of it. No, it is. It is. Again, we're certainly not trying to celebrate. We are certainly not trying to celebrate mediocrity, right? Like at the end of the day, this program needs to get better this offseason. And I think most people acknowledge that. In the moment, I'm still going to be excited about beating Iowa, though. Logan Couch talking about most exciting freshman last 5 years. Brad Davidson, Khalil Iverson. I loved me some Khalil Iverson. When he committed, I really thought that he had a combination of skill that was going to develop and that athleticism that he would become a much better player. But from an excitement standpoint, he made athletic plays that we haven't seen in Madison in like 20 years, right? Some of his above the rim stuff was incredible. Brad Davidson, yeah, he's probably more exciting than Connor as a freshman because he had a little bit more of an all-around game. He brought so much moxie and so much swagger. I think that's the year, right, where he was 4 times or whatever it was, he had to run into the locker room and pop his shoulder back in and then run back out with the bandages. Like he was awesome that freshman year from enjoyability standpoint. So that's a good one, Logan. I agree with that. Although Brian comes back and says, yeah, CE3, most exciting freshman. Yeah. Bo Dragon being his typical Bo Dragon self. If you think Connor's exciting, you don't know the definition of excitement. See, listen, we agree on a lot of stuff, Bo. But it is pretty exciting watching a killer shooter, especially as a freshman, especially as someone who's got quite a bit of swagger himself. So I like it. I guess it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I do like it. Let's see. Nick Flav says Connor is exciting mostly because no one else really is on the team, if we're being honest. Yeah, it's a team that plays below the rim. That's a kind way of putting it. Ken Payne goes back and says, after this, watch Khalil Iverson windmill dunk. Yeah. Listen, Khalil Iverson had – I'm going to do a show on this. We did just a Twitter question. What's the most athletic Badger basketball player you've ever seen? Not the best, just the most. The most athletic. Khalil Iverson got a lot of votes in that. And he had that windmill dunk. He had some out-of-bounds dunks. He had that behind that reverse alley-oop dunk, I think, against Michigan State, maybe. He was incredible and just an incredible athlete. Bo Dragon bringing up Michael Finley. Michael Finley was a better player, but not a better athlete than Khalil, in my opinion. Only my opinion. Could be wrong. Khalil was just a different type of athlete. Now, Michael Finley was a way better player, obviously. No, Nick Flav. Carter Gilmore is not the greatest athlete we've seen in the last 20 years. Jan Vogt talking about that. The end of the first half play where it ended up going to Tyler Wahl in the middle of the court. And it ended up in kind of a rushed fadeaway mid-range jumper from a guy you don't want taking mid-range jumpers. It's interesting. And Jan, I appreciate you bringing this up because for most of the season we talked about, do something different. End of the half, end of the game, right? The Chucky Hepburn stuff isn't working. And, Greg Gard has adjusted. He's done different things. And we saw the attempt to get Connor Siege in the shot to win the game last week. And then we saw this with Tyler Wahl. And neither of those have worked. Now, I like the Connor Siege one. This one, it just felt like Tyler Wahl got a little rushed. I think the play was to maybe open up some court for him. I have to go back and watch it. But to get him in the middle of the court where he could find a shooter or he could get to the rim quickly, none of that happened. I'd be curious to go back and watch it and see what they were trying to do there. But it did not work. That's for sure. Let's see. What else we got for some comments here? Let's see. Ken Payne, bench gets game ball, good production experience. Yeah, the bench has been better for 3 games now, right? Really, the last 3-4 games, you have Davis starting to step up. He stole a big-time offensive rebound, got the putback. Gilmore played a lot of minutes today. Kamari McGee's been better. Isaac Lindsey got in. Listen, Isaac Lindsey didn't play a lot, but he did hit a really important jumper in the midst of a Wisconsin drought that kind of kept them afloat. So I think that's a good point, Ken. The bench really did play pretty well today, and that's something that Wisconsin hasn't had a lot on. Alien Space, Chris Murray held to 5 points and 3 of 28 from 3. I think they were 3 of 27. Oh, 3 of 28 from 5. Yeah, listen, the effort they had, especially with Chris Murray, a lot of that was Tyler Wahl, and Tyler Wahl had a great game. Now, Chris Murray just missed some open shots, but I will tell you this. Players have a more of a tendency to miss open shots when they've been hounded for part of the game by a guy like Tyler Wahl. So I'm not going to give it all to Tyler Wahl, but Tyler Wahl played really well. Murray did not play well. Wisconsin played pretty good. Iowa had a lot of open looks. I've talked about it. They just missed a lot of open looks. And sometimes that's life. Sometimes that's basketball. And as a Wisconsin fan, it bothers me zero, right? I don't care, right? If you played the same game with those same looks 10 times, I was going to make more than 3 threes 9 times, all 10 times, whatever it is. Can't be all 10 because they didn't in this game. But my point is they're not going to miss that many shots almost ever. But I also don't care. You know what I mean? I also just don't care. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up there. We're at about 30 minutes. That's where I try to keep these. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. I don't get to every comment, which I apologize for, but I do try to go back and look at comments and then put them up in the chat for a later show. So I try to keep those alive as well. On Wisconsin, really do appreciate everybody tuning in. Wisconsin beats Iowa. Big game to keep it going, to keep the tournament hopes alive. So on Wisconsin, and we'll talk later. And Bo Dragon will end it with 3 cheers for Fickle.